How do it? Okay. Kimberly, today we're going to be talking about why you decided to join the National Guard.
Sounds good.
Okay. So what made you decide to join?
Well, my boyfriend joined back in July, and he had been thinking about it for a long time and kind of gave me the idea, and I wasn't interested in it at all right away, but then I started to think about all the benefits that came along with it, so I started to look into it. I talked to his recruiter, and I got to visit a drill with him to see how it was, and I just looked into it a lot more after I had the idea, and then I took the plunge.
Yeah, wow. Well, it's a good plunge you took. How long did you consider the decision?
Probably like 3 months before I actually made the decision, but it took about 6 months before I actually officially enlisted.
Oh. What was the deciding factor?
Well, there was a lot of benefits that I had in mind. One of the main ones being that they would repay my student loans, which was huge. And I was no longer interested in working at the bank where I currently work now, and I wanted to get into the medical field. So I thought this would be the best way to go about it because they would pay for my loans and I wouldn't have to worry about the debt I already had if I wanted to go back to school. And then there was a lot of other benefits as well, but the student loans and then getting into the medical field were the biggest ones.
So then do you plan on making this a career?
Most likely. It'll depend on how my training goes this summer, but that's what I'm thinking. Right now I'm in for 8 years, but most likely it'll be a career.
How did your family take it when you told them?
My mom was very nervous at first. I told her I was visiting a drill with my boyfriend, and she was like, "Oh great, are you going to come home next weekend and tell me that you joined the Army?" And I said, "Would that be so bad?" And she kind of freaked out a little bit. But once I explained to her everything that comes along with it and all the benefits, she saw how excited I was about it, and then she was very supportive. My father was also very supportive, as was the rest of my family.
Good. It's good to have a supporting family. What was your process from enlistment?
From enlistment, which was in January, I drill once a month for a weekend, which I get paid for every weekend. And then at the end of May, I go to basic training for 10 weeks. The actual basic training is 9 weeks, and the first week is called reception, where they get us ready to go. And then I go to AIT, and that is 16 weeks. Basic is in Oklahoma, and AIT is in Texas.
What sacrifices have you had to make?
I haven't really had to make any that I can think of. I mean, other than being away from my family and friends for 6 months, which will be hard, and my boyfriend's already gone, and I won't see him for about 9 months. Other than that, it's been a breeze so far.
Did you have to go through any physical changes to prepare yourself?
I've been training for basic, like working out a lot more, but I didn't really have to go through any physical changes. When you go to MEPS to enlist, they give you a full physical, and you have to be within a certain weight range for your height. So if I hadn't been in that, then I would have had to go through some changes, but luckily I was already where I needed to be.
How do you think training will affect you mentally and physically?
Both are going to be very difficult. Mentally, it will be really hard to be away from my family and friends for so long and not be able to communicate with them very often, except for by letters and maybe a few phone calls. It's definitely going to be a huge change from my lifestyle now. Physically, it's going to be really hard, but by the time I'm done, I will be in the best shape of my life, and that part I'm very excited about.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Are you happy with your decision so far?
So far, yeah. I've been going to drill now for a couple months, and I'm going to drill again this weekend. We do a lot of different things. Before they did a paintball shoot house. We play football. We help pick up trash on the side of the road. It's very different, but it's a lot of fun drilling, and I'm getting excited to leave for basic.
Well, it seems like a very rewarding feeling you're having.
Very
I'm glad
much
you
so.
made the decision.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you, Kim.